Hey, it's Kevin with Fanjoy.com. Today we're taking a look at the Samsung Galaxy S. This is the international version of the phone. It varies slightly from the 4 versions coming to the United States, but the core features remain the same, and they all carry about the same specs. The Galaxy S features a 4-inch Super AMOLED display capable of 800 by 480 WVGA resolution, and it's quite simply one of the best screens I've seen on a cell phone ever. At the bottom of the phone you'll notice a combination of touch and hardware buttons for menu, home, and back. As a design choice, they chose to forego the 4th Android button for search, but you can still access search by long pressing the menu button. You'll also see at the bottom of the phone the microphone. On the right hand side of the phone you have the power and standby button. On the left side you have the volume rocker. The top of the phone features a micro USB port and a 3.5mm headset jack. That also doubles as a TV out, giving the bright peripheral. On the back of the phone we have the 5-megapixel autofocus camera capable of 720p video recording, and the speaker. On the reverse we have the VGA front-facing camera and the array of sensors for proximity and light. What we don't have is any sort of LED indicator, which would have been nice, and we kind of missed it. The entire back of the phone acts as the battery cover, and you can remove it just by grabbing the bottom and pulling away. Inside you'll see the 1500 mAh battery, and you'll notice that there's no included micro SD card, but that's not really a problem considering the Galaxy S comes with either 8GB or 16GB of internal storage. Also inside the phone is a 1 GHz Hummingbird processor. It gives the phone a lot of zip and it's capable of excellent 3D graphics. You also get 512 megabytes of RAM inside. The overall feel of the phone is very light, but it comes off looking a little generic and almost feels a little cheap and plasticky in the hand. You'll notice a small chin at the bottom to keep it from sitting flat on the table and muffling the speakerphone. Now the Samsung Galaxy S does feature a 4-inch screen across all versions of the phone, which is a little bit smaller than the 4.3-inch screen of the Droid X and the Evo 4G, but I think it's a nice compromise between a smaller 3.7-inch screen and a larger, almost unmanageable 4.3-inch screen. And the phone's got a nice size to it. The Super AMOLED display is probably my favorite feature on the Galaxy S, and it's hands down the best screen on any Android phone today. It's bright, it's clear, it's crisp, and the technology allows it to be super responsive. It doesn't hurt that the Galaxy S is also sporting a 1 GHz Hummingbird processor to add some extra zip to flipping between pages, opening applications, and even playing 3D games, which we'll get to later. Now the Galaxy S does suffer from lacking from a few features that we take for granted in most smartphones today. The 5-megapixel camera is pretty adequate with its night mode and taking shots in the dark, but an LED flash would have been nice for situations where that just wasn't cutting it. And while the phone does feature standard definition output through the 3.5mm headset jack, and can also transmit video across DLNA wireless protocols, an HDMI jack would have been nice for quick and easy hookup to a television. There's also no dedicated camera button on the Galaxy S, which would have been nice for snapping shots quickly. Some of the issues with the Samsung Galaxy S hardware are addressed in 4 versions coming to the United States, but it's a toss-up in most cases. For instance, the Verizon Fascinate version of the Galaxy S does include an LED flash, but at the same time, it gets rid of the front-facing camera. Another thing I prefer on the US versions over the international Galaxy S is the reworking of the bottom here to include the standard 4 Android buttons, so it's a pretty seamless experience across Android phones. All around, the Samsung Galaxy S is a pretty great piece of hardware, with the specs and features to stack it right up with the other big handsets of the summer. The decision on whether or not it's for you is going to come mostly down to personal preference. Do you need that bigger 4.3-inch screen of the Droid X and Evo, or a smaller 3.7-inch screen of the Droid Incredible? Or is that 4-inch screen right in that Goldilocks zone where it's the perfect size for you? And other things are, can you do without some of the features that the phone's lacking, like an LED flash in some cases, or no front-facing camera on some of the American versions? And a big part of the decision really is going to boil down to the software that's running on top of all of this hardware. But we definitely recommend the Galaxy S. We think it's a great phone, and it's worth checking out.